We do get people asking us questions. Like, for example, one question we're getting is, we reduced the max supply for 1 billion to 200 million.
Yeah.
And people are like, well, what would be we need to understand the price, because that defines the valuation.
Hello and welcome to Crypto Interviews. My name is Claudio and this is Crypto Chain, the channel that brings you crypto news, reviews, tutorials, and interviews with a focus on the Kusama ecosystem. And joining me today for the second time is Sam Elamin, the co-founder of Imbue Network, which are just about to launch their crowd loan and also token sale. He's going to talk about the latest updates from Imbue in this video. Now, if you want to hear about what Imbue have to offer from the beginning, then I do recommend you check out the video that we did the first time, the very first interview. It should be found at the end of this video.
So it's been a hectic few months. Like, we've come so far since we last talked, and what I'm really proud of is our focus, our core principle of accountability and transparency. When we first started talking, I told you that the goal of Imbue is not to get any funding, build the entire product first. And we stuck to that. It was very hard, but we stuck to that promise. And we got our chain up and running. We completed all our Web3 milestones, all the grant, the Web3 grant that we received from the Web3 Foundation. Everything's been delivered. They evaluated the code, ensured that we delivered on our promises. And finally, we went and got the actual product, gave it over to our community and said, here, test it. See if it adds value, see if this is something that adds utility, to see if it's something that should go live, right? And how we built it is obviously very, very different than any other chain. We didn't do we did funding first. We didn't do a white paper. We said we want to build to fix a specific problem in the space, which we did. So I'm really happy about that. We expected maybe 5-10 users. Like when I was at Kylin and we did the testnet, we had maybe 20 times the community and we had maybe 5 or 10 users. At Imbue, we had 400. We had no idea that we're going to get this much. And I think the main difference is it wasn't about running your parachain. It wasn't about running your collator. It was testing the UI, right? Testing the user interface and actually raising projects and contributing. And we initially had it manual, and then we had to define a Telegram bot to allow people to request funds and schedule projects and approve milestones. It was definitely an interesting experience. But the point is, it was battle tested with the community. And we reached the point where now we're able to launch the crowd loan and do the sale of Imbue on Imbue, which I hope we can talk about.
Yeah. No, let's get straight into that. So let's talk about the crowd loan first. When are you going to launch the crowd loan?
Oh, it's out. Yeah, it's out there. So
it's right now.
Yeah. We
okay.
are.
I didn't pay attention today, so my bad.
No,
my bad. I'm
going
to check.
It's out there. And we actually partnered with a lot of people since we last talked. We partnered with Subquery, we partnered with Remark, we partnered with Imbue Network, Fractal for the KYC. And only yesterday did we announce a partnership with Bifrost. So now all the contributions that are happening, you could use the Bifrost UI and you get added rewards, the BNC rewards for contributing to the crowd loan.
But there's also the is there an early bird bonus? I know there's also a referral bonus, right?
So we haven't yet defined the early bird bonus as of yet. We want to implement it, and I think we decided what we're going to do is all crowd loan contributions get an NFT. So we decided that the early birds, right, will get a specific NFT minted from Remark, and the NFT is actually going to be designed by the Imbue community. That's something we're really cool about. The utility of the NFT will be giving you discounts, and for example, the first 100 contributors are going to get a different NFT than the ones that contribute after the first 100.
Nice. And it's going to be on Singular, right? Or is it on the Canaria marketplace?
No, it's probably going to be in Singular. We are way early. We need to define the actual design. So we need the Imbue community to show us everything we do at Imbue is really defined by the community. Yeah. Every decision we take, we basically go to the community and say, are you happy with this? This is what we want to do. So the same goes with this NFT. Do you want what utility do you want this NFT to have? Because apart from discounts on, the raising, lower fees for the raising and potentially giving you a slightly stronger voting power. What other utilities do you want? And what do you want the design to look like? It might not be Canarias because the Canarias are specific to Skybreach, but we're looking at adding more utility to it.
Okay, no, that's fair. That's good. Cool. Thank you. And let's talk about the token sale. So obviously you're one of the Fairest crowd loans on, not, I wouldn't say just crowd loans, but also projects, right? In general on the Polkadot ecosystem and Kusama as well. And so your strategy is different than any other company out there that's trying to launch a crowd loan and then to later launch their product. So you've already launched your product. You've already said that. Testing has been okay. Now you've launched your crowd loan, but in order to take part into the token sale, because you do require funding, since you don't have any, since no private investors invested in Imbue, then people need to contribute to the crowd loan in order to take part in a token sale. So let's talk about that. How does it actually work?
So what I wanted to do, right, for a very long time, how token sales have been run, how pre-sales have been run in our space is through gated communities. You need to know the right people. You need to know the right people to get in touch with the right people, so you are able to get whitelisted. It's not open to everyone. And ironically, the people who support the project the most are the ones that are not in these gated communities. It's the ones coming in later, right? So while other chains, what they've done is they've gone through these private sales and pre-sales, and not only Kusama project, right? This is the standard way of doing things. And at launch, that's when people get their tokens. What we decided to say is, look, since we have no investors, since we have no funding rounds at all, let's say that the people getting into the sale are the ones that believe in the project the most. And who are the people who are going to be believing the project the most? The ones that contribute to the crowd loan, right? Because then it's on chain. It's clear how much this account, this wallet address contributed, and how much their sale price and their vesting and the lock period is. So it's directly proportional. And what's really interesting about this approach is it's now fairer to everyone. It's not gated. It's about whether or not you believe in this project. And if we failed with the crowd loan, you still get your funds back. So that's one. Not only that, but we added another layer of protection with the sale, which is because we're launching on Imbue, and Imbue is all about accountability, we're splitting the funds. We're saying that it's split between two milestones. The first milestone being a launch on Kusama with stable currencies, which we've already done. The fact that you're participating in the sale proves that milestone 1 is done because we're launched on Kusama. The second milestone, which is Imbue Enterprise, which is there's a tremendous amount of interest from the Web2 space in getting involved in the Web3 space. And they just don't know, they don't have the resources, they don't have the ability to execute, they don't even know where to start. And traditionally, when big organizations, when they don't know what to start, they go to consultancies. They go to KPMG, EY, Accenture, all the big consultancies and say, look, this is what we want to do. But that's a very slow and tedious process. There's no guarantee you're going to get what you want. There's no guarantee you're going to get what you described. And there's no guarantee you're going to get anything on time. Imbue at its core is milestone-based democracy. So these same entities, they can submit a brief and say, this is what we want built. And then everyone around the world, everyone in the network can submit proposals saying, hey, I can build this out for you. So then they know their funds are safe until they vote that progress through, because they're going to be the only voters. And that opens up a massive market for us, including treasuries, right? Treasuries might want work done and they don't have the people to do it. So this is another form of utility on the network, and it's really, really powerful. And that's going to be milestone 2, right? What we're going to do is with those milestone 2 funds, we're going to lock them, move them to state mine. So we're also going to be one of the first chains that actually brings real utility to state mine, because we're using it as a custodial. We're saying these funds, we haven't earned them, even though people paid it in the sale, right? We haven't earned them. We're moving them to state mine until we can show on chain that people have voted that the second milestone in Imbue Enterprise has been done and is acceptable. That's another layer of protection that just doesn't exist in any pre-sale.
Yeah. And I do have a question about that, because this isn't very clear. At least I didn't see it on the website. Maybe it's somewhere there. So let's say, for example, because the way it works is you've got an initiator that uses the product, the DApp, in order to initiate a request to receive funding for their business, right? They have a business idea, they want funding, they'll initiate, right? And so then the community get to see that proposal. and they can vote and say, okay, now we're happy to vote for this. And then let's say 20 people decide to all vote their Imbue tokens towards this project. Let's say they want to raise a certain amount, and then they reach that certain amount. And so the question is, how does Imbue earn from this process? Like, so at which point do you earn? Do you earn from the time that, do you get like a certain percentage from the funds that are being allocated to the initiator, or do you earn from when the initiator starts producing revenue and then the income comes in?
So you mentioned a few points, right? In answer to your question, when when happens when there's a successful raise. So the initiator raised X amount, we take 3 to 5% of that, right? That's when Imbue takes funds and moves it to the treasury. But you raised some really good points about different stages, right? A project comes in, and then the team, the community wants it to be active. Right now, when we're launching, we're going to have the pseudo key, so the admin rights. And the only reason it's there is as protection, because what happens if I come in with a meme coin or a scam coin and people are not smart enough to know, hang on, this is not a real project and I contribute to it. So we have stages of protection in place where like only certain projects are going to be able to be funded until we add the governance aspect, so people vote for projects to be added to the funding round. Another thing you mentioned is what happens if they don't hit their targets, right? What happens if you, Claudia, you say you want 100,000 and then 20 people gave you 20,000, right? In total. So you still haven't hit your funding target, but those guys don't have access to those funds. They've paid it, and it's essentially in escrow, right? They don't have access to it until the funding round ends. And then this is where the admin comes into play again and say, actually, this didn't hit their funding target, so refund them, right? So this will be replaced, the admin here would be replaced by not governance, but thresholds. So if you hit 75% of your funding target, we can consider that a successful raise. If not, they get refunded. And the same applies for votes, right? Those, let's say you got 100,000, but you opened up your milestone voting and only 2 people voted, equivalent to 10% of your funding round. That say three voted, 2 said yes and 1 said no. That shouldn't be a successful vote, because there's still 97% of the people did not vote, right? So again, the admin role comes in here to approve or not. And this is only because it's super early. These thresholds will be defined with the community, and once they're defined, we get rid of the pseudo key. Do you see what I mean?
Right, I see what you mean. Okay, so it's not going to happen straight away, even if you, even after you win the parachain auction, you go through the different launch phases. That's going to be at a later point. Okay, that makes sense.
And the thresholds need to define with the community. I mean, we suggested 75%. The community might feel, actually, you know what, we want 85, we want 90.
Right. So does that mean that token transfers are going to be enabled before the pseudo key is removed? Right.
The only thing that's stopping us from enabling token transfers is that our current, we're going to enable them, but the one thing that I am slightly nervous about, and I want to do very quickly, is we want to do something that's fair for people who cannot participate in the sale but have participated in the crowd loan. So people from certain countries and jurisdictions that, unfortunately, due to regulations, are not able to participate in the sale. We want to do something for them because they're also early contributors, right? They technically got in and supported our project. So we need to do some form of exclusive event for them, for only the people that contributed to the sale. Just like the sale is an exclusive event for contributions, we need something else for them to reward them. And it's regardless of what we decide, it's going to be within 3 or 4 weeks after the sale, this would have been implemented. Right? We would have been rewarding the people who were not able to participate in the sale. But token transfers, I have no problem with enabling them as soon as milestone 1 is, as soon as the sale is complete, really. So the sale is going to happen maybe a week or 2 after we win the parachain. But it really is up to the community. When I personally, from a founder perspective, from someone who is feeling that being fair is the most important thing, I really want to do something for them. But if we come in and saying, actually, all our crowd loan contributors have passed KYC, then we don't have the problem of fairness. So we just enable token transfers immediately.
Yeah. No, that's good. And that's, I mean, and you need to do that as well, because ultimately people are going to be contributing using Imbue. But I do have a question about that, because as you know, I've covered Polka news on this channel. And so I've recently seen that you've partnered with Akala, and you're going to be using the aUSD stablecoin within Imbue.
Correct.
So what role is that going to play?
So yeah, so the beauty of Imbue is you define what currency you want to raise in as the initiator. You can raise in Imbue if you want to. You can raise in KSM like we are. You can raise in aUSD, and you can raise in any other currency that then gets implemented, right?
Right. So it's just a choice.
Yeah, it's up to you. Exactly. It's not forced. We're going to give you the aUSD is going to be the default one because it's the most synergized with the ecosystem. For example, if you look at like USDT, that's not, how do you even get USDT into
yeah, it's a nightmare. You need to use, I think you need to use different bridges if it's
it's doable. I'm not saying it's not doable, but the experience isn't great compared to aUSD, which is natural with the ecosystem. And don't forget, Akala have done a tremendous amount of work to define the open runtime module. People look at Akala and Karura and think, oh, they're just DeFi. No, they're doing a tremendous amount of work when it comes to the Polkadot ecosystem. They're setting the standard when it comes to the open runtime modules, which is like a framework built on top of Substrate that virtually a lot of chains use to communicate and use XCM. They're as important, the Akala team are as important to the Polkadot XCM and interoperability and future as parity, or one level below them. That's it.
There's just one catch with the aUSD though that just came to my mind. You know, the way there's no open bridge right now between Kusama and Polkadot. That's still being developed. And so the question is, which aUSD are you going to be supporting on Imbue, because you're launching it on Kusama at the moment? So will it not be the Karura one?
Yes, it will be. It will be the Karura one.
That's going to be a bit problematic because on KuCoin, unfortunately, they don't support the Karura one, only the Akala one.
Exactly. That's why I
withdraw, because I had a look at that.
But what's important to note, and I want this to be clear for your community, the well-versed ones in the Polkadot ecosystem will know this, but maybe someone new will feel like it's not, and it's disingenuous not to highlight this. But the stable currencies will not be supported until the channel is open between Karura and Imbue, because then that's when the aUSD is transferable to Imbue.
Yeah,
right.
Makes sense. You cannot teleport. You cannot teleport until you open the
teleport. It's a reverse transfer. So basically, the funds are in Karura, and then once the channel is open, that's when you're able to transfer those funds over and make it usable in the Imbue network. So it's very important to highlight that it's not going to be as soon as we win a chain, you can use the Akala USD. It could be very, very soon after, but it's pending the channel. And that's why you're seeing so many channels being opened between different parachains. That's the only way to allow XCM to work. You need that channel open.
Nice. Okay, cool. No, that sounds good. Now, I don't know if you have any other things to highlight or to mention, but I do have another question, and that's in relation to the initiators. So we know that we need to wait for Imbue to launch, and then you're going to get, hopefully you're going to get an initiator as soon as possible. But have any initiators reached out to you already ahead of the product?
Actually,
waiting to submit that application? Because I'm curious to get
I want to share with you. So we've been working with the B community, right? This is going to be something really interesting because this is probably never been shared with the community, right? So let me share with you my screen.
Go ahead.
We have worked with the B community who are they're on ETH, right? They're not even on .sama, but they have a tremendous amount of community, and they're running spaces on Twitter where people can learn. And I've worked with them to define this form. And all of this is a public board showing it's Trello, right? So people who are familiar with IT would know this. But all of these are different projects that people want to build, right? And these columns, they're called swim lanes. They're the industries, right? And they go down. There's so many projects here
and have they reached out to you, or did you reach out to them, or both?
No, so we built this forum with them, so with the B community themselves, right? So it was in the space and said, look, their spaces are called Web3 collaboration. They're running 24/7 now. They used to have me running for 15 days a marathon. And what's really interesting is we want to drive collaboration. We want to drive innovation in this space, right? And these are projects that require funding. In the next few in the next few days, really, probably next week or the week after, we're at Imbue, we're doing this Meet the Initiators campaign, where initiators come in and talk about what projects they're building, and why they chose Imbue to fund, and getting the Imbue community to get to know them, so they're aware of what projects they're moving. We actually spoke to someone really interested, and he's part of the community. It's called We Move DeFi. And they're really involved with the Polkadot ecosystem, but they're also building in the Kusama ecosystem. And they chose Imbue because their ethos resonates with our ethos. So we're having all these Meet the Initiators campaigns where people can get to know initiators and get to know what they're building and see whether this is something they would support or not. So this is the testnet, right? So you can go to this dev.imbue.network/dapp. You can log in via Polkadot.js. You can transfer funds from the relay chain. So at the moment it says KSM. So because we wanted to make it really, now Polkadot.js is a really powerful UI, very powerful. It's just not the most intuitive to someone who's new. We tried to make it super clear to try and when you participate in the sale, you'll be able to transfer your funds from the relay chain, assuming you logged in with the right account. You'll be able to discover projects. So when we were running the testnet, for example, we had like almost 100 projects here. So you go in, you can be able to look at milestones that have been defined, and we're working as after we launch, this UI will become much more detailed around the project. So you have an idea of the projects, but you don't know which of these milestones have actually been approved, where they are in the process, at which block was this created, so which time, when was this project corrected, all the information. What we built is an MVP. Although the core functionality in the blockchain is done, the UI does not reflect the amount of work that's actually been done on the blockchain. And that's because we aren't UI developers. We accept that. That's a limitation that we have. But the functionality is there. So all we have to do is visualize the state on chain to the UI. And then it's only through a user interface, through a UI, that you really bring in adoption.
Right. Okay, cool. No, that's true. I totally agree with that. It's very important, because if you make it, if you simplify it, then it's definitely going to be easier. So what you showed me there earlier on, is that where one can contribute to the token sale after the crowdloan team.
Yes.
So to crowdloan team view, you have to use either Bifrost or directly from the Polkadot web wallet.
Yes.
But once you do that, then your wallet will be associated, will be like tagged that you have contributed to the crowdloan, and therefore you can contribute to the token sale, right?
So it's not quite automated in that way yet. What's happening is you will crowdloan, and then you will have a wallet ID, and then you go through Fractal on our website. So if you go to our website, you'll have the KYC link, and you will paste that address that you use, your address that you use to contribute,
and then to KYC with as well.
Yes. So then what we're going to do is we're going to get a list of addresses that have been successfully KYC, and that's our whitelist. We then go into if we go into the chain again, all this is
sorry, a question about the whitelisting and the KYC.
Yeah, that's what I was going to show you.
Who's the partner for the KYC?
Fractal. So if you go to Imbue.network, you'll see that there's a KYC link here, and you can just go. It takes about an hour or two to KYC yourself.
Okay.
So, and that can be done after the crowdloan. It's okay. It just ensures that you have to KYC to participate in the sale, because once you KYC yourself, then this is again Polkadot.js. You're not meant to know this, but it's important to show you, because you're adding a project ID and different accounts. You see that? These are different accounts, and each account will have a max cap, and the max cap is defined by your contribution.
Right, I see. Okay, so that's how we know. Okay, that's fine.
So again, everything will be on chain. Everything.
But one thing that people should know is about the quantity. So if you contribute at the very least 1 KSM, you said, right? Not 0.1, which is the minimum allowed. You need 1 KSM in the crowdloan. And then with that, that guarantees you any amount of contribution in the token sale, right? Or is there still a minimum?
No. So if you contribute anything 1 or below, your max cap becomes 15 KSM. 15 KSM. Okay. 1.5, yeah. And then for each KSM, you get an extra 15. So yeah, so we don't expect you. Will be the team basically, but the point is the whitelist will then be on chain, and you'll be able to cross-reference. Hang on, the Imbue sale had 100 contributors. why is there 1,000 whitelists, right? Everything is on chain, right? There might be exceptions. There might be people that for example, the heroes were saying they can participate in the sale without being on the whitelist. And that's only because they've been supporting us way before, right? They were volunteers. So there might be exceptions for people who can participate in the sale without contributions, but they'll be very rare. And it'll be very clear on chain and transparent who contributed and who participated and how much they contributed and what was their max cap on the sale. See, and I just think that's a very clean way of doing it, because it's never been done before.
I appreciate it. It's been good, and it's very clear and concise and easy to understand, easy to digest. But of course, if you want to learn more, you learn more by joining the community and by playing around, right? By going to the website and testing things out, seeing how things work. And if you have questions, just basically ask the community. I think and you're most active on Telegram, right? You also on Discord?
Yes, the community is active on Discord. I think one thing I want to highlight to your audience is we want questions. We want people to question every single decision we make, right? We want people to say, look, because everything we do is to protect our community, which means any question we get either demonstrates the amount of thought we put in to ensure how we're going to protect the community, or it's a question we didn't think about, which further proves the underlying thing, which is we want to protect the community. So we want these questions. And our encouragement, we encourage not only our community, but people coming and say, ask us questions. If there's something we're not doing, you don't like, ask us. And not only us, ask any project you're part of. We want to set the standard of accountability. And we only do that by ensuring people are asking questions and ensuring that their team are delivering not only on their words, but their actions as well. So we want people to come in and ask us questions and absolutely hold us accountable to our promises.
Absolutely. I mean, that's how a project improves, isn't it? So that's awesome. It's really cool, the fact that you're open to that. And what about price discussions in the group? Are you okay? Are you open to those?
We don't even have price discussions. Like we do get people asking us questions. Like, for example, one question we're getting is, we reduced the max supply for 1 billion to 200 million. And people are like, well, what would be we need to understand the price, because that defines the valuation.
No, but I don't mean those kind of questions. I mean, once IMBU is going to start trading on the market,
when we're going to have to have a separate channel. We're going to have a separate channel, because it's just going to be a distraction, right? People want to learn about tokenomics. People want to learn about how the project will work. People want to even recommend features and functionality. And having the single channel where people are just talking about price discussion and sharing charts might be a distraction. So we're going to have an IMBU unofficial channel.
Unofficial trading.
I'm happy making you an admin over.
Yeah, we talk about price sometimes on this channel. So thankfully not too many videos, because that would annoy some people. But yeah, it's definitely appreciated by the community. I mean, at the end of the day, you get a lot of investors, and you get the investors and you get the people that also believe in the tech. But then you have the mix of both, and so you're always going to get people that are overly invested, and they care about price. They want to know how things are going to move, and how it is. But yeah, Sam, thank you very much. I really appreciate you coming on, and be happy to have you on again as soon as we'll have more updates. Hopefully with the first initiator, the official initiator, and to see how things go. Of course, we can talk about the milestones then, and go into more details at that point. Because I'm sure the UI is going to improve a lot by then.
Absolutely. So. Well, we're going to, that's what the big chunk of the budget of the raise is going to be about hiring a team of UI developers that will take this to the next level, the UI to the next level.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Sam. And thank you as well for watching. And if you are interested in Imbue Network, check out the link in the pinned comment of this video, and also in the description in case you're watching this on Library TV. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.